This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Bonus Bucks is back on KFAN, and we have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com. Bonus Bucks is presented by BigDeck.com.
BigDeck.com. I'm Jerry Rafferty. No, not Jerry Rafferty. Bill Rafferty. Jerry Rafferty did Baker Street. He's dead. He received a check every year, mailbox money, for $125,000 a year for writing the song Baker Street, which he stole the melody from Steve Marcus. When they played it for Steve, they said, you ever heard the song Baker Street? He goes, I'm not familiar with it. And then they played it for him. He goes, I am familiar with it. That's my song. He stole it.
You've got to be kidding me.
Lunch today, Tenneby, is leftover rotisserie chicken. Do you like rotisserie chicken?
Yeah, obviously.
Apparently, it's healthier if you take the skin off, or what I like to call the epidermis. Do you take the skin off chicken?
The skin is the best tasting part.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you think of it as dead chicken epidermis, does it change how you feel about it?
I had never thought about it until right now, so don't really appreciate you putting that in my head.
Dead chicken epidermis is really what it is. It's dead skin.
It's all dead.
And if it's dead?
If it's dead, well.
It's dead. But you're right. It's what adds the flavor to it. So it's like I'm looking at my rotisserie chicken. It's got a drummy, some kind of a wing, and I think it looks like breasts, and it's wearing a pair of yoga pants. I don't know if I want to take the skin off or not, because I should, but I don't know if I'm going to. And you wouldn't, right?
No, it's the best part.
I like eating the bone marrow, as I like to do. I like to crack those bones open and suck that marrow right out of it. But nevertheless, that's for another time. Let's go ahead and do a little 5-3-4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna...
All we do is...
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Rosen likes this club.
Home run, shot a hit, hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins, too.
And I do, too.
For the 3rd consecutive game, Byron Buxton hit a home run. This one a 3-run blast as the Twins beat the Orioles 5-2 last night at Target Field. It's the 2nd time in 11 days that the Twins have won 4 straight games. Harrison Bader also homered for the Twins, and Simeon Woods Richardson allowed 2 runs over 4 2/3 innings. Common, have the Twins officially turned this thing around?
Have they Van Halen'd it? Is
Yes.
what you're saying?
Have they Van Halen'd it?
You're supposed to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. They're supposed to beat. Who did they just beat again? Baltimore. They're terrible, right? I mean, they're an awful team. And we were talking yesterday about how surprised we were because last few years they've been a really good team. So again, they don't put their roster together. They don't put the lineups together. They don't draft the players. They blah, blah, blah of the other team. So it's not their fault, but they've been, now the Red Sox were pretty good. They took, I think, 2 or 3 from the Bo Sox, but they've been beaten up on some bad teams. But, you got to play them as they come up on the schedule. So that's good. But Buxton's been doing it against everybody. Correa seems to be coming around a little bit. They've had some contributions. It's the pitching staff that's really, I think, the strong suit of this team. What I like about Buxton is, do you think I owe Rocco Baldelli an apology? Because I think it was like 2 years ago, maybe it was even before last year, he said something to the effect of, he's the best ball player in the world. And I'm like, he's not even the best ball player on the roster, much less the world. And he's always hurt, and I just thought it was preposterous. right now, the way he's playing, he's one of the best baseball players in the world. If you think Major League Baseball has the best players in the world, and I do, then he's got to be considered one of the best baseball players in the world because he's hitting the cover off the ball. There were some other offensive numbers in the Fish Wrap Factory West side that you didn't include, which is fine. I'm just saying there were also in there, about consecutive hits or hits in games, just all these. He's hitting the ball like a big league hitter.
He's striping it.
Yes, he's striping it. He knows what he's doing. And he's making diving catches when he doesn't need to, and he's stealing bases. I know he was 7 for 7 at one point, and I don't know where he is now if he's tried to steal more. So when you've got your best players, and now Correa, did he have another good night, or was it the night before? I think he's starting to hit a little bit. Yeah, it's fun to see. But I'm not completely, because their pitching staff, their bullpen is good. I don't know how good. I don't think their starting staff or their bullpen's the best in the league, but certainly their bullpen, when they're on, they're really good, and they got 3 quality. Look, I like what's happening right now, but until we start playing the Kansas Cities and the Detroits and the Cleveland, we have trouble with Cleveland again, right? Got to beat the teams in your division, the other contending type teams, and how they do against some of the better teams in the league, we'll find out. But so far, so good after a pretty rough start.
Question number 2.
Chicken epidermis.
Gold Vikings, let's win this game. You'll hear us yell for more.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the state of the skull.
You probably don't like yogurt, right?
I like yogurt.
Oh,
yeah.
Is yogurt alive?
Is it alive?
Yeah, isn't yogurt isn't there something living in yogurt?
I have no idea.
I'm going to look that up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Aaron Schatz wrote a story for ESPN.com titled Biggest Pre-Draft Roster Holes for All 32 NFL Teams. And for the Vikings, he chose cornerback. He wrote, Byron Murphy Jr. is back after a fabulous season in which he ranks 7th in the league in my coverage DVOA metric. But you need 3 starting quarterbacks in the NFL plus depth behind them. Right now, the other 2 starters would be Mekhi Blackmon and Isaiah Rodgers. Blackmon missed last season with a torn ACL and had a below-average 9.8% coverage DVOA as a rookie in 2023. Rodgers was good with the Eagles last season but started only 3 games. Behind them are Jeff Okudah, a one-time high draft pick who played only 7% of Houston's defensive snaps last season, and Tavier Thomas, a 29-year-old slot corner who played only 4% of Tampa Bay's defensive snaps in 2024. Common, my question for you, do you agree that cornerback is the Vikings' biggest need, and does that position concern you right now?
Yes, yogurt contains live bacteria known as probiotics. These bacteria are responsible for fermenting the milk and giving yogurt its characteristic flavor and texture. The most common probiotic bacteria found in yogurt are Lactobacillus. By the way, that's the name of the new pope. Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus. These bacteria remain active after the yogurt is manufactured and can continue to multiply in the human gut, providing potential health benefits. So there is live bacteria in the yogurt you're eating, tend to be, just in case
that's
you wanted to know. What was your question? Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just going with that, talking to people and reading things, and the people I trust tell me we're built to win now. But defensive secondary, yeah. I mean, I just have this bacteria in my gut that's telling me Jeff Okudah is going to have a big year. He was drafted out of Ohio State, 3rd overall pick by Detroit, never lived up to expectations, and maybe he never will. I just, it's bacteria in my gut. Matter of fact, it's Lactobacillus bulgaricus bacteria in my gut. That tells me it's been mostly he's never stayed on the. He's been a little Byron Buxton, Royce Lewis, can't stay on the field. I think he's going to stay healthy and he's going to have a big year for the Purple. But I would say secondary would be probably the biggest cause for concern right now.
I will at least say a year ago at this time, I think we're pretty much in the same boat, right? Mm-hmm. Who are they going to depend on? And they ended up picking up Shaq Griffin later on, and Stephon Gilmore later on. So I'm not completely ready to write off the defensive backfield yet. And actually, both those 2 are still available, too. They're both available for agency. And Asante Samuel has not signed anywhere yet. who was kind of rumored to be with the Purple. So, moral of the story is because they've shown last year that they were able to kind of take 2 retreads off of free agency late last year, that I think I'd have confidence in B-Flow to do it again.
Yeah,
in B-Flow, I trust.
Yes, B-Flow is key.
Question number 3.
It's time now to focus on the Frost.
Is this new?
I think it's the second time I've played it.
I love it.
Yeah, the Toronto Scepters beat your Minnesota Frost 3-2 last night in the first game of their PWHL playoff series. The Scepters got 2 goals from Julia Gosling in just a 2-minute span in the second period to extend their lead to 3-0. It was Britta Curl-Salam and Katie Knoll who both scored for the Frost. Game 2 of this best-of-5 series is tomorrow night in Toronto. Common, the Frost came back from 2-0 down last year against Toronto. Can they make another comeback this year?
Well, first of all, here's what I like about Toronto. They realize that a 2-0 lead is the most dangerous lead in hockey. So they scored 2 goals real quick back-to-back to get to 3-0 because then it's not as dangerous. So that's smart on their part. 2 goals 2 and 3 scored 2 minutes apart. You don't want to leave that 2-goal lead lingering for a long time. I would keep it 0-0, quite frankly, as long as I could. But
I always love that.
That's another strategy for another time. Again, just because something has happened or hasn't happened doesn't mean it's going to happen again or not. Never happened. That made any sense. So I think sure they can come back. They've proven they can. In B-Flow, you trust. In the Frost, I trust. I think there's going to be a warming trend. No, we don't want a warming trend. Frost has always been a negative word for me, though, because if I get to the golf course and they say common frost delay,
it's the worst.
It's the worst. There you go.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
I wish we could do Purple Prey. I love it so much. I miss it. We'll take a break. As we do, Tennebee's got a keyword for bonus box from BigDeck.com.
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword check at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That keyword is check. Enter it now at KFAN.com.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Check out our contest page and enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Minnesota Aurora's home opener against Rochester FC on May 22nd. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter today.
A new pope was selected today. One of us, an American cardinal.
And Midwest.
Yes, Midwest. Not to be confused with the Northern Cardinal, which I can identify by sound now because of my Merlin Bird app. After a while, because when your Merlin Bird app picks up, you turn it on and then any bird within whistling distance or chirping distance, it shows up on your phone. And so now I've done it so often, I can hear a robin and go, that's a robin. I can go, that's a cardinal. And I can go, that's PA. They're just easy to identify. But we have a new pope, and there's a story that says the Pope's first words. Do you know what the Pope's first words were, Tenneby?
What's that?
Goo goo gaga. Because everybody, when they're firstborn, can't talk. So he said,
I always love that one.
If goo goo gaga are really considered words, he said, peace be with you, dear brothers and sisters. This is the first greeting of the risen Christ, the good shepherd who gave his life for the flock of God. I, too, would like this greeting of peace to enter your hearts and reach your families to all people everywhere to all the earth, peace be with you. And whether you think cleanliness is the closest thing to godliness, and whether you believe in the Father Almighty, who will come to judge the quick and the dead, blah blah blah. It's a nice message. Peace be with you, right, Tenneby? Oftentimes people will use when they're departing, they'll just say, peace out.
Yeah.
Which is basically saying, peace be with you. Peace be with you. If I'd have been the first pope, I would have said, ack, ack, a dak, 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 a ack. So there you go. We have that taken care of. I saw, there was a, hold on. I saved the story here on my handheld, which doubles as. Here it is. It's one of those ranking things. I look at it's only Thursday, and I'm doing List Radio, and as you know, tend to be List Radio is lazy radio. So CBSSports.com, which is the king of List Radio, or websites that do lists, post-draft 2025 NFL quarterback power rankings. Power rankings, NFL quarterback, most important position in sports. Could you make the argument goalie in hockey is the most important position in sports?
I think it's second.
Because if you ain't got a good goalie, you're in big trouble.
And, starting pitcher is, I guess, not as important as it once was,
right.
But still.
Right. What do you think the best day in sports is?
Day 3 of the NFL draft.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and I know you roll your eyes, shrug your shoulders, and shake your head at power rankings, and for good reason, especially on the ones on teams. Well, the power rankings are who's got the best record. That's the best team. They list Jaden Daniels as the best quarterback in the NFL.
Wow. I mean, probably should be in consideration given the rookie season he had.
Would you have Jalen Hurts?
I'm not quite ready to throw him ahead of Mahomes and Josh Allen.
Well, would you have Jalen Hurts at number 2?
No.
How about Joe Burrow at number 3?
No.
Lamar Jackson at number 4?
You could argue, Lamar should be up there.
You go to 5 before you get to Josh Allen, and 6 before you go to Patrick Mahomes. Now, maybe it's just a moment in time, and if you are going, I guess, and it's really not described in here. I guess it sort of is. It says, we decided to take stock of all 32 teams and sort today's projected starting quarterbacks, accounting for not only their recent results, but current status and outlook. These rankings will ultimately change as the actual 2025 season unfolds. So if you are taking into account recent results, current status and outlook and such like that, I guess maybe if you're not looking at the past, then maybe you wouldn't have. But I would still, if you were, if it's a fantasy football draft, I haven't competed in one in a long time, and I know they don't do it by position. You can take anybody you want, right? But if the first pick, I would probably take Pat Mahomes. I mean, if you're going to take a quarterback, that's who I take.
Sure.
I think.
Him or Josh Allen. Yeah.
Right. And so that's why these rankings seem, and the Jaden Allen kid's got a hell of a future. I don't think
Daniels.
Or Jaden Daniels. I don't think anybody would argue that. But here's what I find even more interesting, Tenneby. So you get to Mahomes at 6, Matty Stafford is at 7,
Okay.
Jordan Love 8, Jared Goff at 9, Brock Purdy at number 10. Mayfield at 11, Herbert at 12, Stroud is in at 13.
Man, a year ago he would have been in that top 4. He was the Jaden Daniels of last offseason.
That's exactly right. Dak Prescott at 14, Bo Nix at 15, Caleb Williams at 16, Geno Smith at 17, Trev Lawrence at 18, Drake May at 19, and coming in at 20, J.J. McCarthy.
You've got to be kidding me.
He hasn't played a snap in the NFL. They say he's the 20th best quarterback in pro football. How do you think Tua feels about that? Tua's right under him. And then Sam Darnold isn't as highly regarded as the CBS guy. He's at 22. Kyler Murray at 23. And, we talked about, where guys, he was, he did. You were very high on him, and I think a lot of people were, and he looked like he was going to be a star. And he's still good, but I don't think he's gotten to that level people thought he was going to get to. Justin Fields at 24, Cam Ward 25, Bryce Young 26, Penix Jr. 27, Russ Wilson all the way down to 28 is just it's not there anymore.
No.
Apparently. Joey Flacco at 29, Anthony Richardson at 30, Mason Rudolph at 31. Who is Tyler Shaw?
He's a rookie.
What is it? Shaw?
Yeah, he got drafted by New Orleans this year.
And so there he is at number 32. But how about that for JJ? I mean, I think it's cool. And again, they're all subjective.
Who's missing from that list? Which team doesn't have because both Flacco and Anthony Richardson play for the Colts. So the fact that you said 32, there's got to be a team on there.
Oh, this guy's got it wrong. He had Flacco playing for. No, isn't Flacco playing for the Browns now?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Daniel Jones is now playing for the Colts.
Yes,
I apologize.
Yeah,
you're right.
Okay.
You're right. I'm sorry. Last year he played for the Colts.
So, but I find that interesting that I'm not saying that's wrong, but it's just a guy that's never played in the league other than one preseason game where he got hurt. He's already ranked as the 20th starting quarterback in the league, and he's higher up on the list than Cam Ward.
But there's some rookies on there as well that haven't played a snap either.
Yes,
so
that's
you're
true.
kind of projecting.
True. Yeah. Do you think, from what you know of the two, would you say Cam Ward? Would you rather have him than JJ? I know it's hard to know, but would you rather have Cam Ward from what you know than JJ, or would you like what you saw with JJ?
Well,
like what you saw enough of him in his college career, et cetera, et cetera.
The talking point going into the draft was this is a poor quarterback class, and if Cam Ward had been in last year's quarterback class, this year, where would he rank? And a lot of your draft experts said Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and that Cam Ward would probably be in that, Penix, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix range.
Okay.
So, the difference is J.J. McCarthy, as we've talked about many times, is going to have a lot more to work with than Cam Ward in Tennessee, right? Where you got,
for sure.
You got, maybe the best wide receiver in football, quality tight end, offensive line should be better, good running game, and then you've got, the quarterback whisperer calling plays for you. Whereas in Tennessee, couldn't even tell you all their skill players anymore. Yeah. Calvin Ridley. I don't even remember who their number 2 guy is anymore. I know they drafted a wide receiver.
Derrick Henry, one of those guys. Well, one of those guys looks like going to end his career with the team he started with.
I always love that one.
Poor offensive line.
Well, and here's the other thing too that I'm not saying people don't take this into account, but having a really good defense can also help your quarterback because if your defense is shutting down the other team, then your quarterback, and you're scoring some points, your quarterback doesn't have to take chances and such like that, trying to come from behind and all that. And when it's like a pitcher. We talked about it was which Twins pitcher was it? He was kind of slamming his own team. Which guy was it last week? Tell me where he went. Well, it'd be nice to have more than 2 minutes in the dugout. I walk off the mound, I sit down, I have a drink of Gatorade, and eat a couple of sunflower seeds, and I got to go back in the game right away. So same thing. If your defense is just shutting down the other club, that can really help a club too. Let's pause and come back.
Well, it helps when you only have to get 24 points to win a game as opposed to 31 to win a game.
That's another good point. Well done, Teneby. I like what you're doing today. It's been, especially the montage, and you're still getting praise for it. Let's pause, come back. Mark Rosen will join us just before 2 here on Throwing the Towel Thursday on The Fan.
At Ritual, we're celebrating all moms this Mother's Day, current and aspiring. So whether you're looking for fertility support, natal choline, or our best-selling clinically backed prenatal, we've got you covered. Find your Ritual. Go to ritual.com/podcast and for a limited time, get 40% off your first month. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Based on net sales from industry data, including Nielsen IQ, Stackline, and Numerator as of Q4 2024 and top 5 products.
KFAN and Sioux Cup Manufacturing bring you Fan on the Farm. Starting May 19th at 9 to noon, we'll be taking your tractor talkbacks. Each day, one farmer will be chosen to receive a Sioux Cup prize pack, including a Carhartt cooler and a Brewmate Growler canteen. Get the full details at KFAN.com/farm. Sioux Cup Manufacturing Company, helping farmers feed and fuel the world.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-O. That reminds me. Old Sam Darnold has an arm, E-I-E-I-O. It's a couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's 10 to be. Mark Rosen joins us next segment. Wolves versus the Warriors tonight. Bullseye, 7:30 is the scheduled tap. You'll hear that game on this radio station this evening. Everyone's well aware of what would be considered an upset, I think, when the Warriors upended the Timberwolves, particularly with the way the both teams have been playing very well headed into postseason play. Since the acquisition of Jimmy Butler, Golden State, you could argue, had been the best team in basketball. Certainly defensively they were. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves, once Julius Randle came back, and they're crediting Randle's excellent play since the return from the injury to kind of sitting back and watching a little bit and becoming more acclimated with the team, because when he came here, he had a different role with New York than he had here, and now he's adjusted to it, and he'll score when he needs to, but he doesn't mind distributing the ball. He plays tough defense, and it's really worked well for the Wolves. And then after Curry went out, I thought it was over. I thought when Curry went out, I thought it was. I had the same feeling about Curry as I did Rory McIlroy when he dumped it into the water in Rays Creek on 13. Right? I thought, well, it's over for him. He's feeling the pressure too much. He's done. I also thought it was over for him when he missed the eagle putt on 15, and I thought it was over for him when he dumped his approach shot on the 72nd hole into the bunker. Then he won in a playoff. But Golden State was able to continue to play the way they were. I mean, they really didn't seem to miss Curry, if that even makes any sense, because they were up 13, and they ended up winning by 13 or 10 or whatever it was. So up there, whatever they were. I
think they were up 10
and won by 9.
And won by 11, I think, or something like that.
Yes. So I think that's exactly right. I think the 13 in my head was that's what Steph had for points. He had 13 points in like 13 minutes. So, tonight, pressure is what you put on yourself and what you make of it. I don't know if Tennessee, you think the Warriors have more pressure or the Wolves. You can make the case the Wolves do because, well, yeah. You do. I mean, I can make a case for the other, and that's what I was going to say. The Wolves, I don't think it's open and shut. Wolves certainly, because they have, they lost the first game, but Golden State playing out with the effort the Wolves should give, like we saw last night, where Oklahoma City, I mean, they came out and played as complete a basketball game. They overwhelmed Denver. I would think the Wolves would come out with the same purpose, same intensity, hopefully same effort. Hopefully they don't lose and say, well, the other team tried harder. I don't want to hear that again. I never want to hear that again from any team at any time. The other team tried harder. But I would expect they're going to come out and they are going to be laser focused, and then add to the idea that Steph's out. I think there's pressure on the Warriors to pick up where they left off and say, well, yeah, we can win without Steph. I mean, we're better with him, but we can win without him. So I think there's a lot of pressure on the Warriors as well. And I think playing without Steph has to change just the way they approach a game, right? I mean, they had to do it on the fly the other night, and maybe that's exactly what they'll do. I think probably most important is you have to redistribute the offensive load, right? I mean, what was Curry averaging a game? He's got to be averaging upper 20s, right? He's got to average, I bet he averages 26, 28 points a game. That's a lot of people are saying that's a lot of points. It's hard to replace that offense, especially when you're old. So how do they replace those points?
He was averaging 24.5 this year.
24.5 points. So that's a lot of points. That you have to replace. They'll have to redistribute that offense. Buddy Hield was big the other night. I think was he Golden State's leading scorer? What did it end up being? Draymond. Draymond hit a number of key threes, especially in that first half. He missed his first, and I think he hit his next 4 in a row. I don't think you can lean on Draymond offensively. If you do, I think they're in trouble. But I think they do need to distribute it. And maybe Butler is going to have to be a bit more. He's going to
have to run the offense.
Yeah, and I think he not only that, but I think he has to be a bit more selfish maybe. You pointed out, and you were spot on, that in the game on Tuesday night, he passed up looks but got it to the right person, right? He had looks, but he was very patient, and he was because like you had said, he's got this reputation, like a lot of these guys have a reputation of being a ball hog, right? But he wasn't. But I think maybe he might have to take more of the scoring onus upon himself without Steph. They certainly need to capitalize on their defensive strengths. Now, the Wolves are very good defensively as well. As a matter of fact, I think statistically, the Wolves were better throughout the entire season. I think they're ranked, if I read these numbers right, and again, you know me, I don't do much show prep. I thought it was 5th ranked defensive unit with that defensive efficiency, sabermetrics, analytics stuff. And Golden State was 8. But Golden State jumped quite a bit, I think, after Butler got there. I think actually, I think the stat was since Butler arrived on the team, Golden State's had the best defense in basketball, but they're going to need to play defense like that because the Wolves do have a lot of scoring options. I mean, I got to think, what the thing I like about Ant, and I don't have any documentation in front of me, but I brought up this 2-game stretch on a number of occasions this year where, remember when they were doubling Ant and he only scored 5 points, and afterwards he was talking about how, well, I'm young, I like to score, and they're double teaming me, and I don't know what to do. He actually said, I don't know what to do. Then the next game, he went off for like 41 points. So he's able to, and I would think, I'm expecting a big game from him, but that's where, and I don't know. I mean, Ant had a much better second half. Was it just 1 point in the first half? I think it was something like that. And then in the second half is when he really, and he didn't hit it. Every basket I think was taken to the basket. Right? It was like a layup. He didn't have any outside jump shots until late in the game, I think, and then he hit a critical 3. And anyway, I don't know what they'll defensively. I think they're going to try to get on him again. But there have been times we've seen Ant, like all the great shooters, you can go ahead and smother them and cover them, but they're still going to score points. And I would think he's going to have a big. It certainly won't be for lack of trying. I think he's going to try to become more involved offensively if he can. And I think this actually goes for both teams because they're both good defensively. You've got to create the turnovers. You can't turn them over, and you got to get the easy baskets. And I think it's especially important without Curry for the Warriors to create turnovers and get easy baskets because you lean so much on Curry, right? So many teams lead on their leading scorer, and rightly so. That's why they're the team's leading scorer. But when those guys aren't in the game, it becomes much more difficult. And then, it's going to sound crazy. Does Draymond basically become the de facto leader of the team, or is it Jimmy, or is it Draymond?
I think it's Jimmy.
I hope it's Jimmy, because if it's, and I love Draymond. I really do. I mean, he's nuts, and he runs hot and cold. But I don't know because he's now the elder statesman on the club with Steph on the bench. If that's going to lead on Draymond, because sometimes he could lead the Pied Piper led the rats right off the end of the plank and they plummeted into the Red Sea just before Moses parted it. That's how they escaped. I don't know if you know that. That's how the rats got out of there. And they wrote a book about it in the Bible. It's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and Rasputin. There's another book in the Bible. So,
well, when you're talking about the Warriors and how you replace Steph Curry, you started offensively, right? And you look at offensively, Jimmy Butler, I think, what you're going to get out of Jimmy Butler, right? He ain't going to back down. The pressure is not going to get to him in this situation. He's going to score. He's going to distribute. To me, the biggest X factor now is Buddy Hield, because for a good chunk of that series against Houston, he was a non-factor.
Yeah.
Not even playing a lot of minutes. All of a sudden, he exploded in Game 7 for 33 points, and he was 9 of 11 shooting from 3. And then he carried that over into game one against the Wolves. Now, Wolves go into this knowing Steph Curry's out. I'm guessing Buddy Hield's going to have a little bit better defender on him than he had for a good chunk of that game in game one. So how he can react and now there isn't a little bit less margin for error with Buddy Hield as there was, as opposed to having Steph Curry available. And same thing with Jimmy. Now,
you've got a great basketball mind.
We were talking about the offensive side of things. Defensively, as you mentioned, they were the number one defensive team in basketball once they got Jimmy Butler on their team. So they might not need a lot of offense as long as... I don't expect them to hold the Wolves to 88 again and the Wolves to shoot as poorly as they did. But they might not need a bunch of offense as long as they can keep their defense going.
I'm not paying as close attention to Buddy Hield as I once did. Has he ever shown in his NBA career where he can go long stretches of games and be the guy? I don't know. My guess is no. Like you say, he ain't Steph Curry, and I'm sure they'll pay a little bit closer attention to him. And you see guys do that all the time. Somebody gets really hot, you can't stop them. Your mama can't stop them. Your daddy can't stop them. The police can't stop them. So for Buddy Hield, I know look, maybe I'm, people like to always jokingly jinx people or say people are jinxing the club. And I thought the Wolves would win game one. I just liked the way they've been playing. And, but I think they'll win tonight. I do. I think they will. I think it would. I don't think it's going to be a 46-point win or whatever it was that OKC had over Denver in their revenge game after, blowing that game. That was their game. And Denver somehow came back and won late by just outscoring them and out-hustling them and playing better defense. And so I would expect the Wolves spread. I don't know if it's be by that many points, but if they don't, if they don't come out and hustle and physical and this and that, lose the game, well then I'm done with them. I'll go back to the Rockford Files.
My guess specifically is Anthony Edwards comes out and is a completely different player tonight because he had game one. A lot of people are watching nationally because they like to see Steph and they like to watch Draymond and Jimmy Butler against this upstart Wolves team. And he put an absolute egg out there and then got called out by his coach after the game.
Yes,
and I'm sure they watched a lot of film. You got to do this, you got to do that. I imagine we're going to see a different Ant tonight, and he's going to take over.
And we were discussing it yesterday, and periodically we've done this during the Wolves season about how Ant has been... I get it. As much as I feel like if you've been playing basketball your whole life, it shouldn't be that difficult to pick up on the nuances of the game and understand what your preparation has to be and recognizing on the floor during game time what you've seen in film study. So, I see what they're doing. I know what they're doing here. If you remember, Ant said week ago again, everything's a week or two ago in my mind, but it was that zone defense is sure different than the one they play in the AAU. You just figured that out now. I thought you would know that by now because he got completely flummoxed by whoever they were playing. Their defense just completely confused him. And so you're like, to think to yourself, what? How do you not know? I mean, don't you go through those things? And sometimes I think some guys have a greater grasp of those things and can understand it earlier than others. Like, for instance, how to accept and respond to email. I still don't to this day. It's harder for me to get a grasp on it.
You don't even know how to get to your email.
I can't even get to my email. I still can't get into Workday to take vacation. By the way, I haven't put it in yet. I'm out next Friday, just so you know.
You've got to be kidding me.
Well, nice if you could respond to my email about Program Classroom Invitational dates as well.
I printed it. I had to look at it. I think I'm available.
So the 16th you're out.
Yeah, because Deuce's graduation, I'm forced to be there.
Oh.
How about the revenge Deuce is getting on baby brother Peter? Because it's a famous story, just as famous as Mark Rosen's picture at 11 years old from the World Series. Mom made Deuce go to one of Baby Brother Peter's games. Do you guys do that as parents? Do you say you'll go see your brother's game or whatever?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, because they're too young to just leave them at home.
Right.
So,
but I mean, you just tell them, no, you're going to this game. It's not even so much leaving them at home. It's just like my wife thinks that they should support each other, right?
Sure.
So Deuce didn't want to go. Last thing he wants to do is go to the game, right? And that's when he was introduced to JG, because JG came down to watch one of Pete's games. And JG, this is Deuce. Deuce, this is JG. And Jay goes, Deuce, nice to meet you. And Deuce just said, I was forced to be here.
I always love that one.
So now with graduation, Mom says to Pete, you got to go to the graduation. And Pete's like, couldn't I just watch online? So
I always love that one.
Pete's being forced to be there.
Yeah.
So it's after
And then Deuce will be forced to go to his at Ohio State.
So after 12 years, however long that was, the forced to be here thing, Deuce has got his revenge. Pete's going to be forced to be, and I'm kind of being forced too. I mean, I know it's important and I should be there, but I guess I don't
always love that one.
I guess I don't understand the importance so much because I never did graduate. Not only do I have 4 years of college eligibility remaining, but 2 of high school, but yeah.
Graduation ceremonies are the worst, too. They are overly long. They're boring.
I went to both boys' high school ones, and the Deuces was really bad because they did it outside at the, what do they call it, the nest? The hell, which one's the nest? The nest, because the basketball's the perch. They had it at the nest outdoors, blazing sun, 85 degrees, and you're out there for like 2 hours. Just like, well, whose idea was that? Pete's wasn't a hot day, but it was indoors at, I think, Aldrich. So they moved it indoors.
Sure.
They
learned their lesson.
Yeah, they learned their lesson. We had it indoors. So at least, and here's the thing with Aldrich, they don't have air conditioning, but at least it was tolerable.
Yeah, you're in the shade.
Yeah, you're in the shade, so at least it was tolerable. So I've been to 2 of them. Yeah, they are overrated, aren't they? I don't know. I didn't experience one. You graduated twice then, right?
High school and college, yeah.
What's it like?
It's pretty boring.
Yeah.
Nothing really happened with it.
But you
didn't lead to anything.
Yeah, think about it.
Well, then I attended my wife's, at the time, my girlfriend's graduation. I remember something like at St. Thomas. It was part of a very controversial ceremony where one of the speakers had people were leaving, walking out because he was being controversial. And there was newspaper stories about it. I forget what the topic was. It was a long time ago.
Euthanasia?
Well, can I bring it up to you? What are your thoughts on euthanasia?
I really don't have much to say because I don't know any kids from that part of the world. Well, there's that. Just desperately trying to get to 2 o'clock. Doing everything I can here, bringing back old. The euthanasia joke is pretty good.
Well, I mean, it is May 8th. Have you looked up your New Year's resolutions at all?
Yeah, you know what? I do make New Year's resolutions. I do. And I check them periodically, usually the first of every month. So just about a week ago, I checked it. And not only have I broken all of those, my New Year's resolutions, but 7 of the 10 commandments as well. I mentioned I have 2 kids. Well, with my first wife, my second wife hasn't been born yet. My wife and I decided we didn't want kids. So I told both Deuce and baby brother Peter that. That a good line? My wife and I didn't want kids, so we called them and told them we didn't want them anymore.
Brilliant!
Thank you very much. Oh, look at this. If the Wild were playing today, who would they be playing? Burn a segment doing imaginary Wild coverage. Who would they be playing?
They'd be playing the Edmonton Oilers. We'd be talking about Connor McDavid.
Yeah. And would it be game 1 or?
Well, they played game 1 the other night. Edmonton won game 1, so they're up 1-0. But Connor McDavid, the Wild have defended him about as well as anybody. Now, he still scores against whoever he plays. Mm-hmm. But if you look at it from a points per game basis, I thought I looked it up once. The Wild are maybe second in the NHL in limiting his scoring. And I think a lot of that is because they have quick mobile defense. Like Jonas Brodin is very mobile and if anyone can skate with Connor McDavid, it's Jonas Brodin.
Okay.
So from a matchup standpoint. So, if the Wild would have advanced, they probably would have had a shot because they usually do pretty well against Edmonton.
Here's an interesting. This is so good. Hold on. Tractor talkbacks. How will the screeners at the Fan prove these are genuine farmers contributing, not people like Rosie who play as being rural? Is the nearest grocery store within 20 miles? So good. Oh, speaking of the
just
the
got ripped as he walked in the door.
Getting ripped. He hasn't even gotten on the air, and he just got.
For what?
For thinking that being in Cold Spring is like being out in the boondocks. 20. And did you know that they don't have a grocery store within 20 minutes?
I always love that one.
There's places all over that you have to drive a while to get.
Already planning our trip. We have a trip up there to go see our friends Mike and Ann, and I'm already plotting a strategy to get groceries.
You should stock up.
I will.
Yeah, I would.
You all be stocking up.
Stock up on clothing. Bring a generator there in case.
Yeah, they have all that. They have a great house there, lake. It's phenomenal. Yeah. Pontoon boat, everything. I just have to stop at Kowalski's, of course, because I practically live there.
Yeah. I'm not much for roughing it. As a matter of fact, you know what I consider roughing it? Holiday Inn with the window open. Hey-o!
Oh, my.
We'll take a break.
You got the 2. Congratulations.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, we finally got there.
Your voice hasn't.
No, I think the voice sounds good.
It's kind of sultry.
It's got a sultry, sexy sort of sound.
Well, I don't want to say that.
We'll take a break and come back. The legendary one joins us in Studio A next here on The Fan.
Here at Ritual, we know that a mother's support isn't limited to one day a year, and we believe that yours shouldn't be either. So this Mother's Day, we're honoring the world's biggest supporters with science-backed daily rituals that center you not just today, but every day. Whether you're thinking about motherhood, actively trying, or already there, we've got you covered for when it matters most. From fertility support and natal choline to our best-selling clinically backed prenatal multivitamin, know that you're getting clean, traceable key ingredients in bioavailable forms. Because let's be honest, you don't have time for guesswork. Find your ritual. Go to ritual.com/podcast and for a limited time, get 40% off your first month. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Based on net sales from industry data, including Nielsen IQ, Stackline, and Numerator as of Q4 2024 and top 5 products.